I must rush here and I'm in a hurry because I'm not only a time-binding species, but I'm also a time-bound individual. Time-bound by Marty.
Thank you.
So, and my time is already over.
For you, an extra 15 minutes, starting now. Right.
Thank you. My time starts now. Are we all here? Good afternoon. This paper is dedicated to Balvant Parekh, who received the award yesterday. The title of the paper is Window View. This is an interesting account of the kind of work that we have been doing. About a year ago, while conducting a workshop, I gave 3 options right at the beginning. I said, first of all, do you want a sesquipedalian, prolix, pedagogic, pretentious presentation? Or do you want a unilateral, monotonous bombardment in which people find it very soporific? Or do you want it an interactive, participatory exploration of the territory of truth, where we can have some kind of consonance of wisdom? And the participants were all dons of university, professors. Some of them were very young, imaginative, creative people, and obviously such people don't want to keep silent. So they preferred the participatory mode. So then I said, well, you are all imaginative people, very creative people, so I do not need any educational equipment or educational aid to teach you anything. Close your eyes, start imagining, and tell me what is your window view. Close your eyes and tell me what's your window view. And I was unleashing their imagination. And then I said, give me your responses with closed eyes. And the responses started coming fast and thick. Sunrise on the horizon, a bookstore downtown, hills and clouds, green fields, a river in spate, tropical forests. They were all beautiful, but they were all in one direction. They all spoke about nature and nothing else. So I said, okay, see something more. Still in one direction, they were looking out. Somebody said skyscraper, somebody said McDonald's, and whatnot. And for changing direction, I said, look here. I brought a little bit of personal touch. I said, I've been a judge, I've been a magistrate, and I used to get summary statements at the end of the month in which they said, a cycle theft meant theft of a cycle. Robbery meant robbing of a person. But there was a phrase called servant theft. It was not theft of servant, it was theft by servants. So I give a little change in the gear. Say, respond now. What do you have in your view? And then the view was, so far it was from inside out, the direction changed. The second kind of window view was from outside in. So somebody said, now I see a piano, I see a chair, I see a baby crying there. That was the second perspective, second window view. And then as they were all bright, smart, imaginative young people, they like to challenge speakers. So one of them got up and said, well, what is your window view? This was just the opening gambit that I was waiting for. Just the opening gambit. So I said, I closed my eyes practically. But then I said, I see a window itself, and nothing but the window. And the whole window. Many glass panes held together by mullions. Most panes were transparent. Some few were translucent due to dust. And one pane was opaque. Windows were fixed to hinges fastened to a rectangular frame. and there were several transparent panes which were leaving some of them also colored yellow. So I had also something yellow before my eyes. There were Venetian blinds, they were open, windows were slightly ajar, and through which I saw a blue colored vertical strip. This is one window. I continued to look, neither from inside out nor from outside in, but at the window. Just as the world view means your view of the world, my window view is my view of the window. Not inside out, not outside. And then I went further. Now I see many windows. Not one, but many windows. A French window gives a top to bottom full view. A dormer window in the roof gives a different perspective altogether. A bay window allows wider sidereal view. A lancet window has a beautiful stained glass pattern. And a rose window provides a circular view of a profusion of colors and shapes. What I see through each is determined by the very structure, location, and nature of a window. That's my window view. So whatever I view cannot be fully comprehended, whatever I view cannot be fully comprehended unless I understand my window fully, unless I understand my window fully. In a sense, the window is the view. To drive the point hard further, I took up a photograph of Albert Einstein and I said, tell me, what are your responses to this? Now, widely different interests and responses can be received from various kinds of. Now that I had illustrated the differences in window structures themselves, and I sort of called myself a window, then I said, what are the different kinds of perspective? Now, a barber in Burkina Faso, looking at Einstein's photograph, did not know a thing about him, but was fascinated by a unique hairstyle, which he wanted to learn. An Iranian actor was deeply impressed by the noticeable furrows in his forehead and practiced it before mirror. How can I get it as an actor? And then to a Chinese painter, his deep set eyes were of great interest and he wanted to paint them. To an Israeli citizen, he was an icon, and to a scientist at Princeton University, he was inspiration for his research work. So, each person, like each window, had a different structure, different educational, cultural, psychological makeup, which determined and restricted his response to the same object. Whether a person looks at the objective, impersonal world out there, or he introspects and examines his own personal inner world, thoughts, feelings, motives, likes, dislikes, he cannot fully comprehend them until he understands fully the fundamental instrument for all such gatherings. And this, to begin with, therefore, it is necessary to know this window, this structure of humans through which all is imbibed. This undoubtedly is a very complex, and I am using a long phrase here with hyphenated joints. This complex structure is a neuro, percepto, physio, linguo, psycho, socio, axio structure. This is the apparatus. And we must all understand this apparatus. Now, all these ingredients that I mentioned, neuro, percepto, physio, linguo, psycho, socio, axio structure. Axio particularly refers to the value system. I have seen murderers, robbers, rapists, all kinds of people in my court when I worked as a judge. I never found a single human being who never had a sense of right and wrong. You may agree with them, you may not agree with them, but a sense of right and wrong each person had. So this axiosystem, axiology, values, each person has some set of values, which is again a part of the total evaluation mechanism that we have. So I dilated thereafter upon each of these salient features of this complex statement that I made, hyphenated long. But then most of the participants belong to the English language and literature category, some of them to philosophy, by and large, 90% about English language and literature. So I thought I would dilate more upon English language and literature aspect. So of these neuroperceptor, socio-axio, etc., I said I would just concentrate upon lingo part of it, and then the next section I call it lexical laxity, how words can be misused or used loosely, and then mention a few symptoms about how firstly words have many meanings, they are polysemous. I need not give examples here, you are all very familiar with them. Secondly, I see the very structure of the language, the subject predicate relationship, and how it restricts our understanding and hinders evaluation. So from the bipolarism of subject and predicate to me John appears smart, so it becomes tripolar. To me, once the moment you bring in me, the structure of the sentence, the process of evaluation, it becomes more refined and sophisticated. Then thirdly, I said that words are used in a sentence by creating muddled questions. And a few examples, words such as cause, create and construct are loosely used interchangeably. What caused birth of the earth has a very different import from the question who created the earth. Cause is more of a scientific concept, demonstrable in experiments and evidence. Create implies imagination, insight, imagining the whole. When Rodin sculpted the thinker, he had the insight. The total was before him at that time. And when he used the word construct, the Eiffel Tower was constructed, and construction, so causation, creation, construction, three different words having three different shades altogether. If one is used in the context of another, it will be a kind of misuse. Fourthly, and this is interesting, some words lend credibility and sanctity from their roots. Now, because biology, physiology, zoology, entomology are established sciences, any word ending with ology invokes instant respect in many people. Again, a misuse of the word. Thus, jumpology, the way you jump and come down, there's a science of jumpology. 40 years ago, I saw photographs of eminent intellectuals of USA in a magazine called Life, and they all jumped in different positions, and there was character reading in it, and all sorts of things. So you have jumpology, partology, how you part your hair. It indicates your character, you know. Then you have shadowlogy, astrology, numerology, and they are all sanctified because they come with the ology, tail behind them. When scientific terms such as field, force, quantum, molecular, these words are added, then they further lend respectability to shadowlogy, jumpology, partology, and so on and so forth. Fifthly, conceptual cobwebs are created. Concepts such as ghost, mind, luck, destiny, misleading. This was lexical laxity. Next section I am coming to is semantic situation. This is interesting. We are all familiar with semantic reaction. And in semantic reaction, we refer to how we totally respond. But to that, there is a context. There has to be semantic situation to which there is a semantic reaction. And so it's necessary to stress the semantic situation also, and the constant factors, not the variables so much, but the constant factors in semantic situation. To briefly mention about them, there is a context to everything, which the more we know, the more we understand. First part. Secondly, the structure of this instrument, neuro, axio, physio, etc. Each personality is brought up differently. In fact, as we are aware, even identical twins born with same genetic stock, in course of their experience and progression in life, if one is brought up in Russia and another brought up in China, they will have different wiring connections in the brain. Their neurologies will differ. So even identical twins do not have the same kind of thing, same kind of personality. They have different personalities. So the structure of a personality is determined by all these factors, which needs to be taken note of. Thirdly, interpretations by different people of spoken words, sentences, what you read, all that. Yes. And next section is called categorical imperative. And I said that there are chemical imperatives of teenagers, we are all aware of. Then there's the categorical imperative that Immanuel Kant spoke of, the moral aspect, the chemical aspect of the body. But third, it's very interesting in the context of GS, is the categorical imperative. We tend to put everything into categories. This category, that category, this label, that label. So that categorical imperative is something which we need to cure ourselves to the degree possible. And lastly, I say, this section is called the Tower of Label. We are all familiar with the structural differential model of Korzybski. We know event level and then object level and then name level and description level and so on and so forth. The model runs from top to down. At each and every level, we are giving some label or the other. And I feel that if you invert the model, it becomes like the Tower of Babel. It becomes the Tower of Labels. And in the Tower of Label, the more you go up, the more you go away from the land. So from wordscape, we have to come down to the landscape. And maybe sanity will be a kind of leveling rather than more and more of labeling. These are a few thoughts. 3 minutes, you said? 1 minute. Noah's descendants wanted to reach heaven united in language, effectively communicating common purpose, and commenced building the Tower of Babel. So jealous gods came down to confound their speech and confuse them with socially by multiple incomprehensible languages. At the individual level, till date, confusion persists in the Tower of Labels. Wisdom and sanity tend to grow in proportion to one's awareness of one's ignorance. One's awareness of one's ignorance. The key is awareness. Awareness of labels. What we are aware of, we can be in control of. We can be in control of. What we are aware of, we can be in control of. What we are not aware of is in control of us. After giving window views, views of, from and through this individual window, after giving the window views, the window now closes with 30 seconds more. Maybe some new windows have opened. Thank you.
Thank you.